Throughout the 4 years we spent with Kirito up until he found himself in Underworld, it wasn't all about surviving the death game Aincrad, foiling a secret experiment to save Asuna in Fairy Dance, or stopping Deathgun from killing other players in Phantom Bullet. There were a lot of moments where Kirito and others just had fun in these VR worlds as they were intended, and moments where they saw VR was more than just an artificial world, bringing people together to make their mark, to live their lives the best they could in the most bittersweet arc of the series. This is the journey so far, Road to Alicization, featuring Mother's Rosario. If you're just jumping on the series, in the previous videos I covered Aincrad, Fairy Dance and Phantom Bullet respectively in a fast manner and explained things where the anime adaptation failed to showcase properly. That will be exactly what I'll be doing here today for Mother's Rosario. So, without further ado, our adventure begins as Sugua found a news article regarding the holy sword Excalibur in Alo and that someone had discovered the quest for it. Kirito remembered the time 2 months after he had cleared Aincrad. On his journey to save Asuna, Leafa and Kirito had stumbled upon Jotunheimr, which was omitted from the anime adaptation, and saved a monster that Leafa named Tonki. With its guidance, they found a labyrinth that led to the legendary sword, but having other priorities, Kirito had paid no attention to the questline at the time. Quickly, they called Asuna, Klein, Lisbeth, Silica and Sinon to attempt the quest. Finding themselves in the middle of a battle between the Norse gods, the quest was all about stopping Ragnarok and preventing the destruction of Alfheim Online. Thanks to Klein's selfless and noble actions, the group gained a strong ally in the form of a Norse god as he rescued a lady stuck in a cage. The NPC that Klein saved with his heroic choices managed to bring down the life of the boss in the next room by 2 entire bars. Finding a hammer and transforming the NPC into Thor, the fairies had no issue defeating the boss. Once the enemy was gone, Thor rewarded Klein's valiant efforts with a replica of his legendary hammer. At the end of the quest, the crew managed to find and return the holy sword of Excalibur with the help of Sinon. 2 weeks after, on January 6, in their newly acquired home on floor 22 of the new Aincrad of Alo, Lisbeth told Asuna about the absolute sword, Zekken. This mysterious player was defeating player after player in a bet that she would hand out her 11-hit original sword skill. After hearing that Zekken defeated Leafa, Lisbeth and even Kirito, Asuna decided to rise up to the challenge. Before logging out that day, she asked if Zekken could have been an SAO survivor, but Lisbeth refuted with Kirito's words. If she was in Aincrad, the dual blade's unique skill that was given to the player with the fastest reflexes would have been given to Zekken instead. On the dinner table in real life, Asuna got scolded by her mother, Yuuki Kyoko, for spending so much time on her Amusphere. She mentioned that she had hired a private tutor for Asuna and applied to another school to speed up her education. Asuna said that her current school was fine, but her mother rejected, claiming it was just a prison to monitor the kids who spent 2 years killing each other in the murder game Sword Art Online, but Asuna reminded her that she was one of those kids. Asuna left the table after learning that her mother investigated Kazuto and was trying to set up a marriage for her with another wealthy family. Before she left, she claimed that Kyoko was doing something Asuna didn't want just to ensure her daughter would not live a lowly life that she had. She ignored the furious calls of her name by her mother and left the room, remembering how powerful she felt back in SAO, but how powerless she was in the real world. The next day, after Kirito shared his impressions of Zekken, and that he thought the player was quote-unquote truly living in the virtual world, Asuna discovered that contrary to what she had thought, Zekken was a female player named Yuuki. Asuna had the first push in their duel, but Yuuki quickly grabbed the upper hand. Coming at a standstill, Asuna remembered her time in SAO once again and then saw the worried look on Kirito's face. She took a deep breath, changed her stance, and Yuuki did take notice of this shift. Attacking at blazing speeds, Asuna forced Yuuki to start using her sword skills and she responded with hers. As their swords locked, Asuna decided to get the upper hand and punched Yuuki in the gut, throwing her off balance. In this time, she activated her quadruple pain, a really fast 4-hit sword skill, which, to her surprise, got blocked by Yuuki nevertheless. Just when the duel was over, Yuuki stopped her 11-hit OSS just short of Asuna and told that she had seen enough. She then took Asuna's hand and flew away outside of Aincrad and asked for her help. A while after, back at the inn, Yuuki introduced Asuna to the guild Sleeping Knights. From the group, Sinon stepped up and explained that the guild wouldn't be able to play together after winter due to real life reasons, and that they wanted to leave a mark in the world by getting their names carved on the Monument of Swordsmen in the Black Iron Palace. They were a party of 6, and as long as they didn't cross the 7-player mark, all the individual names of the floor clearing group would be carved onto the board instead of the party leaders alone. Asuna agreed to help the next day, but before leaving she asked Yuuki why she didn't pick the Spriggan in black, knowing full well Kirito was a much better fit in terms of a fighter. Yuuki responded that the Spriggan had discovered the secret behind her before their duel was even over. As Asuna was walking towards the teleport gate, she got disconnected from the game, only to find out that it was her mother who had done it because she was late for dinner. The next day, Asuna and the Sleeping Knights reached the boss room with ease. They found some players hiding at the boss room door though, but they let the party go through. Sleeping Knights went in to have a practice run, but during the fight, Asuna realized the group outside was actually spying on the boss fight to learn the tactics via the peeping spell. Once they respawned back in town, Asuna told everyone what she had discovered and they rushed back to the boss room to try again, only to find a huge raid party blocking the way. Although they were not ready yet, they were still keen on preventing Sleeping Knights from getting a second chance. Yuuki decided to fight the group blocking the doorway, saying that there are things you can only share with someone by fighting. But with their reinforcements arriving at the end of the labyrinth, they were losing hope. Suddenly, Kirito appeared and jumped in front of the arriving group of reinforcements. The leader asked Kirito if he really thought about defeating all of them single-handedly, but Kirito shrugged it off, saying he had never tried it before. Cutting through the first round of warning shot magic with a sword, he claimed that even the fastest magic was slower than the bullet of an anti-material rifle in GGO as he pulled out the holy sword Excalibur, sending a chill through the group. As Klein arrived at the back of the group to distract them further with his heroic actions at the most opportune moment, Kirito yelled that he would buy 3 minutes for them to make it into the boss room. Rushing through the crowd, they managed to make it inside. As Yuuki mentioned, they left those who helped them behind to die. But Asuna reminded her that the best way to repay them now was to ensure they take out the boss, and also mentioned that it was Yuuki who taught her that some things can only be shared by fighting. As Yuuki remained speechless, Asuna asked her to talk about herself once they were back after their victory. During the fight, Asuna managed to discover the weak spot of the boss and told Yuuki to aim for it. In the heat of the battle, Yuuki agreed as she referred to Asuna as her big sister, and defeated the boss with her 11-hit OSS. The door to the boss room opened and the Sleeping Knights greeted the oncoming raid party with a victory sign, and yes, Kirito and Klein had already lost their fight a long time ago at this point, looking at the prepared raid party outside. Back at home celebrating with a party, Asuna asked to join Sleeping Knights, but the entire atmosphere sunk at that very moment. Yuuki tried to explain that they would be disbanding soon and they wouldn't be able to play together anymore, but seeing how they looked, to change the topic, Asuna suggested they go to the Monument of Swordsmen to see their names, where the inevitable happened and it all snapped. Yuuki, out of joy, exclaimed that she finally had done it as she called Asuna Big Sis again, and when Asuna pointed out in a cheerful manner, Yuuki just froze with tears in her eyes. She logged out without saying a single word. 3 days after Yuuki disappeared and stopped responding to anyone, Sinon explained that Yuuki was distancing herself from her for Asuna's sake. Back in real life though, Kazuto asked if Asuna really wanted to see Yuuki and Asuna said yes. Kazuto gave him an address of a hospital and told she would find Yuuki there using a medical VR machine called Medicuboid. At the hospital reception, she asked to see Yuuki, and upon mentioning the Medicuboid, she was asked for her name and was handed over to Yuuki's supervisor, Dr. Kurahashi. He mentioned that Yuuki talked about Asuna and that he should expect her, but he never thought it would happen. He brought Asuna to the room next to her unit with a window overseeing Yuuki as she was strapped into the Medicuboid unit. He explained Yuuki's condition, that she was suffering from AIDS, that her immune system had collapsed, and that she had been living in the Medicuboid for the past 3 years. Asuna asked if she had a sister and was shocked to learn that she had passed away a year ago. She started crying, but Yuuki comforted her from the speakers and invited her to Alo to have a chat. To fulfill Yuki's wish of attending school again, Kazuto and 2 other students worked on Kazuto's device that he was planning to use for Yui in the real world and gave it to Asuna and Yuki to use. During their time, Asuna took Yuki to her real-life home. Talking about her mother reminded Asuna of hers and the struggle between them. She asked Yuki how she was so strong, but Yuki claimed that she wasn't, that she just felt like she had no time to waste, and so she was just being honest with her feelings. When she was back at her home, Asuna confronted her mother and asked her to log into Alo to see her world for once, where Kyoko was reminded of her past. Asuna had a heartwarming speech towards her mother as Kyoko got tears in her eyes. She claimed she was not crying, trying to keep the tough attitude she kept in real life, but Asuna revealed that unlike the real world, one couldn't suppress feelings in VR as she let go and burst into tears. Next day, she reminded that if Asuna wanted to support someone she loved, she needed to be strong herself first. As Asuna left the room, she thanked her mother and Yuki along with her. Over the next few happy months, the group beat floor 28 and 29 bosses as well. Konno Yuki continued to attend the school with Asuna and won a tournament in Alo against Kirito. In the novels, there was no time limit during this duel, and as they battled for over 10 minutes, Yuki used the skill with 11 hits to defeat Kirito, unlike what was portrayed by the anime to make it look like Yuki won by a health advantage due to time running out. That was not the case in the novels. She had beaten him in a clean-cut manner with no what-ifs, which is one of the reasons why we always tend to refer people to the novels in a majority of cases. Amazon affiliate links down below. This is also the period of time that crosses with alternative Gun Gale Online spin-off series, as Shinohara Miyu, also known as Fukajiro, had been beaten to Zekken during this time. However, around the end of March, Yuki's condition worsened and Asuna found her at the hospital in a critical condition. She realized that Yuki wanted to meet back in Alo, so they both logged back in. On the place where they first met and had their duel, Yuki materialized the scroll, her 11-hit original sword skill, Mother's Rosario, and handed it over to Asuna. As Yuki was spending her final moments lying next to Asuna, members of the Sleeping Knights arrived. Yuki reminded them that they promised not to say goodbye, but they stopped her and said they were just there to cheer her up, joking about how they would not leave her alone where she was going, but they broke down as well. Yuki promised that she would wait and told them not to hurry. Kirito, Yui, Leafa, Lisbeth, Silica, Sinon and Klein appeared to pay their respects, followed by players from all around Alo appearing around to honor her. In Asuna's arms, Yuki peacefully passed away. And that brings us to the end of Mother's Rosario and concludes both seasons of the anime. Next part will be ordinal scale, so subscribe and hit the bell to not miss that video. As Alicization starts airing the next day, Alicization explained videos will follow. As usual, all the relevant material, light novels and Blu-rays can be found in the description as Amazon affiliate links. Huge thanks to my patrons as usual, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.